Hey, it's been a while since my last video. Work and everything kind of gets in the way of wanting to do videos and stuff. And not only just work, though. Playing a lot of different video games that have been coming out. There's been a lot of really good games coming out the past couple months. So, yeah, I'm back to make another video. With that said, I want to talk about another franchise that I really love, which is the Nier games. So, the way I got into them is a bit different. I started playing Nier Automata first before I played Nier Replicant, and I never played any of the Dragon Guard games because I never owned a PS3, so I never got to play those. So with that, I would like to start on how I got introduced into Nier Automata. So if I remember correctly with Nier Automata, I think I had seen a trailer for the game. I think it's the very first trailer on I believe it was on the PlayStation Store on the PS4. I think that was the only way I really got to know about it, right? I watched the trailer. It seemed interesting to me. But I think what really made me actually want to like buy the game and actually want to play it and everything was because I saw Platinum Games is the developer of the game. And at that point I had already played Metal Gear Rising, Bayonetta 1 and 2, so when I saw they were making this game too, I'm like, alright, we're gonna get another action game. I'm like, alright, I'm ready for this. So it's gonna be cool, right? After the trailer, I ended up playing the demo that was released on the PlayStation Store. And when I played the demo and I saw and felt how the game played, I was like, all right, this interests me. This interests me a lot, right? So that's when I was like, all right, I know I'm gonna buy this game when it comes out. So yeah, no, the first impressions I had of it, I'm like, I really like it. I like the art style. It's not like a super graphical game, right? It's a good art style. So that's what made me also like it too. The little bit of a story you kind of get from playing the demo also interested me, and then seeing the different ways that the game is presented to you in terms of mechanics and how it played also interested me. I was like, all right, I want to see how this game turns out in the end. Then I also want to say that I remember another thing that also really got me interested was because I remember seeing on Twitter when, people saw 2B's design and everything and played the demo and whatnot. Let's just say there was a lot of horny guys out there. Let's be honest. People doing a bunch of horny fan art. I remember one GIF that people had of just 2B walking slowly, and then I think people did the self-destruct, so she lost like the skirt part of her outfit, and I remember that specific GIF of 2B walking without the skirt and just her leotard went super viral, and then from there, everything just kind of exploded. So I won't be I won't be lying if I say that also kind of interested me. But yes. So when all that happened, right, all that horny fan art and stuff too, also seeing the fact that Yoko Taro was basically just being a freaking G, and basically being like, send me all the fan art, send me a link to all the fan art, and then people basically compiled all this amount of fan art and sent it to him. I'm like, yo, Yoko Taro's awesome. I'm like, this guy's cool. So then I think just seeing him how he is, I'm like, alright. I'm like, I gotta support this game. What made me like Nier Automata a lot was obviously the story, I think. I mean, it's such a good damn story, let's be honest. I think up until that point I hadn't played a crazy good story for probably years, right? Because the games I mostly played were what? Call of Duty, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon. I did play RPGs, right? I played like Skyrim before, I played all those games too, but the stories weren't as captivating, right? I mean, you can't really say that about Pokemon or Mario, or those are simple. Zelda, for sure, definitely has some story, right? I think Zelda have really good stories. Skyrim, overall, main quest was kind of alright. It wasn't crazy. But yeah, you know, up until that point, I felt like I hadn't really played a really crazy good story-driven game, other than The Witcher 3 at that point. So the story of this game made me really just fall in love with it, right? I think that's kind of the biggest thing about Nier Automata in general. I think I like the fact that like the story starts off kind of simple, right? You know, androids killing machines to be able to make the planet Earth safer for the humans, so that they can return from the moon. And you know, the more you play, the more that goes on, you see that the story is starting to unravel. That, oh, okay, this isn't just android versus machine. This is starting to get a little more serious, more complicated. And I think that's what obviously hooks you, right? Once you just keep playing and you see the story unravel more, it's like, all right, you know, this is interesting. So that's what made me really fall in love with the game, was the story in general, just really good. By the end of it, yeah, let's just say I was pretty sad, pretty broken. Not broken literally, but you know, I was pretty sad that I'm like, man, I'm sad. But yeah, no, I think without a doubt, Nier Automata shines the most in storytelling. I think all the characters are written well. 2B, 9S, obviously really good. A2, while I would say in the game, she isn't like the main focus for a good amount. You know, towards the end, obviously she is. But yeah, no, I really like all the characters. I also really like the characters in the game. You know, obviously, I don't think they're as fleshed out and focused like the side characters, like let's say Pascal. Pascal definitely for sure is, but I mean like Jackass and all those people. They're not really fleshed out. They're kind of there to just give you quests and whatnot, but that's fine. Overall, I think the main focus are, of course, 2B, 9S, A2, Adam and Eve. So, yeah. Overall, great characters, good world building. I think everything that the story was trying to tell you, I think they said it in a very good way. I also want to talk about a little bit the anime that came out too for Nier Automata. So I will say that the anime definitely added a lot more to the story. It kind of actually showed you and explained to you, if you never read any of the short stories and the books that came out, about what happened with A2, so, or who exactly she is and stuff, right? The anime kind of explains that and kind of shows you, right? So I think the anime also expanded a lot more on the story of what Nier Automata, the game, didn't expand on. So I think that's what also made me really love the story more, the more I thought about it, right? So there's that too. So I would recommend anyone that has played the game to watch the anime too, because the anime isn't exactly one-to-one. I know that it takes parts from the book, and then obviously that's like new from the game. So it takes parts from the books and the short stories and puts into the anime, and then it interprets the scenes differently from the game into the anime, so that you can kind of see more of the thought process of said characters like 9S and stuff. So I definitely recommend the anime if you have played the game too. So with that, talk about the gameplay. The gameplay, it's good. It's passable, you know, I would say. Some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to like it. Some people don't mind it at all. Some people are going to think neutral. For me, I liked it. It got the job done for what kind of game it is, right? It's a simple, light, heavy attacks. But I think what can be pretty cool about it and adds a little more of diversity is with the weapon combos you can do, right? You can switch from fists to swords mid combo. You can even change out weapon sets so you can have different weapons too, like spears, great swords, and all that stuff. So it adds a little variety. So that's the nice thing about the combat. It's not super simple, and you can make it as advanced as you want. So it's pretty cool. The chip system, was also interesting. It gives it the RPG elements. Each chip can give you different effects. There's one that basically gives you witch time from Bayonetta if you dodge perfectly. There is, if I remember, like passive healing. So if you're not in combat, you haven't taken a hit, you just heal up slowly. There is more health, more defense, more damage, all that kind of stuff. So chip system's not too bad. And you can get different chips to increase said effects the higher level they are. But it all comes down to how much chip space you have, and you can only fit to a certain amount, and you can upgrade that chip space. And yeah, you just kind of have to allocate what you want and what you want to prioritize. So it adds something to it. It adds a little bit of layer to the combat as well, right? You can do some crazy aggressive builds, or if you just want to be safe. So I liked it. I didn't mind it. Only thing is for sure is that if you play on higher difficulties, you need the good chips, because if you play on the very hard, if I remember correctly, the very hard is the one that is one tap, right? You just get hit once and you're dead. So if you play on very hard, your chip system only really matters if you're going to be on the offensive. That's the only way you can play that game. But if you are playing on the hard difficulty, then you can at least use that chip system to your advantage, so that you're able to give yourself a higher chance of living through one hit, because in hard difficulty you can basically die in 2 hits. But if you allocate your chip system to more defensive, then you can definitely survive a lot longer and stuff. So yeah, I would say the chip system is good. Once you get to that very hard difficulty, it's just kind of pointless to even do defense. So yeah, but overall I liked it. Definitely could have done a little more to maybe not balance the game towards the chip system as hard in the higher difficulties. But yeah, that's just a small little gripe. It's nothing too crazy. Also, something really cool I liked about the gameplay is the different sections, right, of the certain parts, right? So some boss fights will just be 2B, action game style fighting, combat, and then there is with 9S where you can do the same way. You can fight regularly like 2B, Jesus Christ, regularly like 2B, but 9S's attacks are way slower compared to 2B's, because obviously 2B is a combat unit while 9S is more of a hacking unit. So the way that they fight is different. So with 9S you can hack the enemy, and it puts you in a little top-down little shooter type of game, and you have to shoot this. If I remember, if it's a circle, right, and you gotta destroy that, and that's when you get the big damage after that, right? So it has a little bit of variety. Not only that, there's also these like 2D kind of top-down shooter areas too, like at the beginning of the game, where you destroy like the machines. There's also like the side-scrolling ones as well, where basically the game just turns to bullet hell. And maybe not everyone's gonna like it. I liked it. I didn't mind it too much, right? It's not like the craziest thing in the world, and it's not the most advanced thing in the world, but I think it adds a little bit of variety, and I like that. So there's that too. I will say, Nier Automata doesn't have the greatest graphics in terms of fidelity, but I think overall the art style I really like. I think my biggest example of talking about the art style is with the copied city, and basically towards the end of the game, the tower. The art style of that I think I really love. Also, same with the bunker. The bunker also kind of portrays what I'm talking about, why I like the art style, right? It's simple, but it's just a nice thing to look at. I don't know how to explain it, but that's kind of the best way I can put it. Is it's a simple type of anime-ish type of art style, but it just looks cool. It looks good. I think that's as much as I can say. And with those places I kind of described about the art style and stuff, those are also my favorites. Besides the bunker is just simple. It's just a little hub. So, but the copied city and the tower I think is basically like Nier Automata at like what its art style and what it's trying to portray is. But yeah, I really liked it though. Nothing too crazy, you know. Not the best looking game out there, but it's still a decent enough looking game. Also with its art style, I forgot to mention is that it also portrays very well how the world of Nier Automata is, right? You know, it's a post-apocalyptic world, right, where machines are essentially running rampant and killing any and everything. And you know, you see how the first area of the game, you know, everything's just rusted, broken down, and everything. And you know, it portrays it very well. So there's that. You know, I think the art style portrays the atmosphere and everything of the game perfectly. Now the music, I will say that is top tier music, top tier, like easily in the top 10 like soundtracks of all time. I have to say that for sure. It's up there with like the Witcher soundtrack, a lot of the Souls soundtrack, aka mostly Bloodborne, because I think Bloodborne is probably the best and most varied. Zelda soundtrack, you know, I think it's up there with those. It's phenomenal. You know, it portrays like the intense action scenes very well. It adds a lot more tension to the bosses and everything. And then when it has to be the more emotional parts too, it really portrays that emotion too. It really helps bring out emotion into it. You know, for example, some of my favorite songs are like from the Tower. The Tower's theme is very good too. You know, it portrays it very well. Dark Colossus, boss fight theme. Memories of Dust. You know, the desert area too. It adds that like sense of like wonder and everything to the desert, even though it's just a desert. Forest Kingdom, phenomenal. Fortress of Lies, Alien Manifestation, Bipolar Nightmare. Basically, where these songs are put into, where they're injected into, I think it adds a lot to each and every encounter, area, whatever it is. The soundtrack is phenomenal as hell. I can't stress that enough. I remember once I beat Nier Automata, I purchased the soundtrack right away. I had to. I was like, alright, you know what? I might not be bumping this in my car, but I'm going to put it on my computer, have it on there. That's that, you know. And then I'll put that on my phone or whatever it is, and I'll listen to that whenever I feel like it. So, yeah. That's how much I love the soundtrack of this game. I had to buy the freaking soundtrack so that I can have it for myself and yeah, listen to it whenever I feel like it. So it's phenomenal. With everything I said about Nier Automata, I'll end it off by saying it's one of my favorite video games of all time. Top 10 easily for me. You know, everything of the game is just done very well. Even its lows isn't even like awful. You know, everything just is good about this game, and it's one of those games I definitely recommend to anyone to play it, you know. So, yeah, can't stress enough how much I love this game. I freaking love it, and because of this game, it made me love everything about Nier Automata and even Drakengard, even though I've never played those games. It made me curious enough to look into the stories of the Drakengard series, and then even into Nier Replicant before I played it, to make me understand more about Nier Automata, you know. So, in the end, I freaking love it. Now, let's talk about Replicant. I played this when the remaster came out. Made me kind of be interested in, obviously, when I looked into the lore of Drakengard and Nier. So, yeah, you know, it made me interested into it. I wanted to play it, but obviously, at this point, there really wasn't a way to play the OGs unless you could just find a copy online and have a PS3. So, yeah, I never played it until they announced the remaster of Replicant for the PlayStation and PC and maybe Xbox. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yes, when they announced that, I was like, all right, I'm buying it. I'm like, yep, I'm buying it. This is the prequel to Nier Automata. I gotta play this one too. You know, I always heard really good things about this too, seeing people talk about it online. So I was like, I gotta buy it. I gotta play it. So with this game, what made me like it was the story. I think the story is very good too. I think the story is even more complicated than Automata was, right? Definitely for sure is. Once you get to basically the last parts of the game, you see that the story is pretty complicated, but it's also very interesting and I think very good. You know, I really liked the main characters. You know, obviously Nier, which what people call, which I don't think they really have an official name for him, because I know he's referenced in Automata as the World Destroyer and even on Nier Reincarnation. But yeah, you know, I think we just call him Nier. So I really like his character. You know, obviously he's trying to find a cure for his sister's sickness and stuff. I really like that. Obviously, like people and myself included love Kaine so much. I freaking love Kaine. I like the meal. I liked the meal when he was his human form, and then I liked him even more once he turned into, you know, the form that everyone knows. So I really like that, you know. And then I think the each area basically had its own little story. I really like the masked people. I think the lore behind them is also pretty cool too and stuff. So I think the everything from the narrative and stuff of the game I think was done very well, and I think in the end it pays off really hard, especially with the remastered version. You know, I think that there's an extra added route E, which basically just ends it, right? From what I understand, the original game didn't have Route E. It only had A, B, C, and D. E was like an exclusive thing to the remaster, and it basically, you know, ends the story. And I think it concludes it very well, you know, right? So yeah, I freaking loved it. I love that game a lot. The gameplay, I liked it. From what I understand, it's better from the original, you know, from Gestalt and Replicant. You know, I heard it was improved a lot. You know, it's even simpler than Automata's. There is no like extra RPG elements to give you maybe stat boosts, you know, none of that stuff. Which there is items for that if I remember correctly, but there's nothing like a stat points or anything like that to put into to give you more damage and whatnot. Um, it's a lot more simpler. Same thing, light heavies. You can use magic, so there's that too. It's not complicated, but I think it's fun. It gets the job done, especially, you know, I don't think Replicant was really made to be like an action game like DMC, Metal Gear Rising, none of that stuff, right? So what it is, I think it's good. It gets the job done. It doesn't need to be super complicated. So graphics, I think the game has pretty good graphics and art style. Art style I definitely love. I know a lot of people that played the original Gestalt didn't really like this game's art style as much, you know. Not everyone, but I know some people don't because they said it's basically been made to be the Automata art style, which I guess a lot of people that played Gestalt don't like. I think a lot of people like that grittier version more. Some people. So, yeah, no, for me, I didn't mind it. You know, obviously I played Automata first, so I already liked Automata's art style. So going into Replicants, it wasn't really like a huge difference. I liked it because it was definitely a lot more polished as well. So it looked better in a lot of cases. So I really like the art style and everything. I think it's very good. The music of this game it is good as hell too. Definitely hella good. Will I say it's better than Automata's? Mm, no, but it lags a little bit behind it, you know. But I think it's still a very good soundtrack, right? I think like the ones that come to the top of my head that are my favorites are the Shadow Lord theme, Emil's Despair, uh, the Secret Weapon. You know, it's like, or the Ultimate Weapon. My bad, not the Secret Weapon. But yeah, you know, those ones come to the top of my head like right away. Those are easily some of my favorites songs in the game. There's other ones too that I like. I like the junkyard theme when you go into the area. Not the junkyard area, but the junkyard. Is it a cave? I don't remember. But yeah, there's a lot of other good themes too. I just can't think of the names on the top of my head. But no, the game has a really good soundtrack. I do say that I do prefer Automata's soundtrack just a little bit more. In conclusion, Replicant, I love the game. I think the story is what really made me love the game a lot. I do think that the story in Replicant is better than Automata's for sure. But yeah, I think overall the game is a good package. I think anyone that is willing to play a good story-driven game will enjoy it. So yeah, it's a good game. I recommend it to anyone. So that's everything I want to talk about with these games, right? Why I love them and stuff. I want to know what you guys think of how I structured these videos. This video specifically. How I structured this video. You know, I tried to keep it a little more structured. The last one I did for Dark Souls, or Soulsborne in general, was definitely a lot more sloppy, right? I didn't have a structure on how I want to talk about things, right? I almost kind of talked about the games like what I remember off the top of my head while I'm playing them, right? So this time I actually wanted to keep a little bit of a structure. I wanted to talk about story a little bit, then I want to go into spoilers, talk about gameplay, art style, music, and then that's that, right? So I try to be a little more organized, keep it that way, make it a little bit easier to kind of understand compared to what I did last time. So yeah, I would like to know what you guys think about that, if you guys liked it, or if you guys want me to, you know, kind of try to be a little more organized with how I'm doing everything. So yeah, I think that's it. So let me know what you guys think. So yeah, anyways, take care.